Dream big. There's no other option. Channel PK Town.
We have comedian Ron G in the house, in the PK podcast right here. This is Last Comic Standing. What year was this?
Like 10? I don't know. Maybe 2010?
It's already been like...
Can I say 010? Is that okay?
Yeah, 010.
It's 010.
Yeah.
It was 010. Yeah.
You're right here.
Okay, cool. Yeah. 010.
Thank you for coming through.
Yeah, bro.
I actually, I was on a show. You were the headliner at Fuller Seminary. I don't know if you remember this.
Yo, I do remember that.
Yeah,
it was like in a
lineup
room almost.
It was a room.
When the door was open. Yeah.
And then
and you went up before me?
I went up. I was like second. There were like four. I think you're the closer.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you're amazing.
Thank you, bro.
I've been watching you for a long time.
Thanks, dude. Yeah.
But I have this one joke about I've been doing a Laugh Factory. I'm a preacher's kid.
Yeah.
What if a kid just in front of church like has this honest prayer about like he masturbated that week and he looked at porn. And so I was like, oh, it's cool if I do it here. It was so
you did it?
tight. It was like,
but the crazy part,
there's a lot of seminary students there, but I know it's real. It was real.
Isn't that crazy where you would feel like that should be the most honest environment, but
everybody was nervous to laugh because everybody's like,
But that's the crazy. But those are the people that need it the most. But yeah, I get you, bro. That's funny.
Yeah.
But I like pushing the envelope when I do church crowds because I feel like we all go through real stuff, but nobody actually talks about it. So I like being that person to get right there on the line. And then I'll make it so assumptive. If you laugh at it, then I'm laughing at you like something wrong with you that you're laughing. I never said it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the art of comedy, man.
What did you grow up in church?
It's so funny. I grew up, my mom made me go to church, but I wasn't like a church boy. Like my mama left as soon as the message was over, she would leave. You know, like when they do the benediction, like welcome everybody, my mom would say, I got to go home.
Oh, yeah. But you guys would go.
Yeah, we would go. And I was laughing because I used to ask my mom, I was like, Mom, why didn't we go to like vacation Bible school and all the other stuff? And she was like, because I did my time growing up because her mom made her go church all the time. So she's like, I ain't doing that no more.
But she wanted to just raise you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So even when I was in college and I went to the club, I would come home like drunk and the club stamp on. My mom was like, you going to church. So I still went.
You still
had to go, man.
Wait, how many siblings is it?
I have one other sister. She's older than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but my parents, they let me live. They didn't, make me like not do a bunch of stuff. She just let me live a little bit, and she trusts me too.
That's cool.
And you a PK, man?
I'm a PK. I'm a preacher's kid. You know?
Yeah.
I was really good.
Was it mega church or like
mega? My dad's church was 3,000 people, and he grew it from like one family to like 3,000. I grew up watching that.
Started out being like a Bible study or something.
It started a Bible study, and then he's a really good speaker. So I saw that whole thing.
That's scary though, because when you grow up in it, you see stuff that other people don't see, and it makes you jaded a little bit too.
I saw a lot of politics. The church,
oh, sure.
The church elders threw down.
Yeah,
I don't know. Korean churches are really ridiculous.
Yeah,
they for the land, they like threw down, and the cops came.
They threw down like what?
They threw down. They like
fought.
They fought, and I remember
at
the church. I remember there was this big.
That's hilarious.
It was in English and Korean. It said, "Love is patient, love is kind." And
they fighting right below the sign.
Right below the sign.
Get off me, mother! I ain't patient. You better have my money now. That's funny.
So are you clean comedian because religious or just to because?
It started out being religious because when I cursed, I got booed. And so when I stopped cursing, I got funny. So again, in my personal life, I feel like God challenged me. So I got saved right around the time I got funny. And I met this older comic. He was like, dude, you hilarious. Like, why you curse so much? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, dude, stop cursing so much. And for some reason, it stuck with me. And I got saved. And then I went back to the place I started doing comedy at. And I got booed at. And I did a clean set. And I killed it. And then later on, I felt like I had this conversation with God. God was like, if a pastor, because I used to curse in my personal life. And I didn't curse on stage. And I felt like, God said, if a pastor did what you did, you would judge him. So what makes you any different? And I was like, ugh, and it kind of hit me. So I stopped cursing in my personal life. So now it's not a chore. And there's no crowd I can't do. Like I had 9 shows last weekend and I did a church, I did a kid show, I did a comedy club, I did a theater, and I did like a open mic and like all different places, all different crowds. And most of the crowds didn't look like me and I could perform there. So it's like a real dope lesson to be able to perform clean too.
You really hit me right there because I'm actually going through a real struggle personally right now.
Yeah,
I don't normally, because I have kids.
Yeah.
So it's not like, but sometimes with friends, and my wife too, it just comes out, right?
Yeah, it's seasoning. Everybody in my life curse, so it's not a problem. Like that's everybody's lane, but
on stage, most of the time I'm clean. but sometimes it just adds that.
Sometimes, yeah, it's a little seasoning on the word.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but that's somebody else's lane. But my lane particularly is like, I want kids to know you can be successful and not compromise and not be like anybody else. So you will never.
Do you feel it's a crutch like that some people use?
Yeah. But again, like I try not to judge anybody else's walk because in order to define greatness, you have to have things that are not like you in order for it to define what you are. It's like if you and your wife loved all the same things, then you would never have an opportunity to love her. But because she does things that you don't like doing, you know, she like going to Pottery Barn and Bed Bath and Beyond, and you don't want to go, but because your sacrifice to go there lets you know that, you know, there's room to show somebody that you love them because it's not the same. So I feel like comedy is the same way.
Pastor. I
got a little bit of me too. Yeah, but I feel like in life too, man, like it's necessary. Like people that are dirty, people that are unfunny, people that are, you know, all different types of comedy is necessary to define what's dope, what's great, what's fresh. You know.
Do you have a lot of people say like respect you more after the show? Like on Fat Tuesday. I mean on Chocolate Sundays and Fat Tuesday.
So most people don't even know I'm clean. The fact you said it, nobody knows.
That's because you're funny.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
But I feel like when people notice and say like, yo, you didn't curse, did you? I'm like, that's the most flattering thing ever because they noticed there was something different about me. Because I perform with people who most raunchiest comedians ever, but I never announce it. I just have fun. And again, it's my art. So if I can get a better punchline by doing a crazy act out or using a specific word, then this comedy is like my life, dude. So I wouldn't know what to do with my life. So it's my life work is to figure out how to be funny without cursing, you know?
That's much respect, man. There's so few.
Oh yeah, it's hard. When somebody's like, "Yo, can you since you can't do it, can you refer somebody else?" I'm like, ugh. Like I know on one hand, probably like 4 guys and 1 girl that could probably do a show.
Not even 5. No, wait. There's so many few good, great comedians.
Yeah.
That are clean.
But you won't even know though. That's the cool part. Like that's why I feel like that's why my parents let me live a little bit too. So the fact I wasn't churchy, it lets me be able to, you know, perform around people that's not like me. And then because I actually went to church, I have a certain level. Like you hear like little phrases that I use in church that'll tie into my set. And you he a church boy, but I still talk about edgy stuff.
That everything you say right now really hits me in a good way.
Yeah.
Because my parents were very strict conservative.
Yeah, of course.
And then I went crazy.
And you said Korean?
Korean.
Like
I went crazy, like a lot of preachers' kids that like, you know, you're not to anything.
Oh yeah.
So in my 20s, I went.
You gotta go live.
I went crazy.
You gotta go live.
So, but with my kids, I want to be how like your parents were with you because then you're just more well-rounded.
Absolutely.
Balanced. Yeah.
Because my mom, she ghetto, and my dad, he like a thug, but my mom went to church. So having that balance of being scared of your parents, but then knowing that they love you enough to like, you know, give you a great spiritual foundation is an awesome feeling.
Was it a big church or is it?
I was for the town I was in. Yeah, it was cool, but I didn't really meet Jesus. He turned into a spiritual. All right, cool. I didn't really meet Jesus until I moved to Atlanta, and then Atlanta was my cocoon where I figured out life. Where my first time living by myself, my first time getting fired from my first job, like my career job, and then my first time starting comedy, and like my life kind of made sense in Atlanta. So Atlanta's like second home to me, where I figured this thing out. I figured out why I'm on the planet. Like specifically, my job is to change environments and like inspire people, particularly kids though. Like where I know when I walk into a room, if I walk into somebody's life, my presence anywhere changes the environment.
Do you consider yourself a Christian comedian or no?
No, I'm just a clean comedian. But people are like, yo, I love your energy. People see me perform, they're like, I love your energy. But I know to me that translates to I see your light and you're different. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it just depends on, you know.
But like, do you go on like, you know, like there's like Christian comedian tours? No, not like that's not your thing. Right? Because I saw something online. I remember seeing him here too. He was cool. Michael Jr.
Yeah, Michael Jr. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, right. And then he does the altar calls. I was really moved, man, because I haven't gone to church in a long time.
Yeah. And
then just YouTube. Yeah. Just watch it. I was like, whoa, like.
Yeah, that's serious. So this is my personal little testimony. They have an organization called CCA, Christian Comedian Association. And when I first moved out here, I went to one of those meetings. They had like a conference. It was a really cool conference. A lot of like huge name Christian comedians you never heard of before. And they all mentioned after their show they do altar calls. And me, I feel like an outcast because all I do is perform in clubs, you know, like that's all I know. And it wasn't hinted, but it was almost like it made me feel bad because I didn't do altar calls. I'm like, that's not my calling. That's not my mission.
Like they were hinting for you to do it?
Yeah. And it's like, you should do it at your shows. I'm like, I'm not doing that at no comedy club. Like, no, that's not cool. But I think the fact that I honored my heart and I stayed in the lane that I am, I feel like I'm more effective. You know, because I'm pretty sure I got more TV credits than most of those people anyway. But, you know, it just you choose your path. And I don't want to limit myself by saying I'm a Christian comedian. Yeah, I love Jesus. I do, but I don't have to announce it while I'm on stage or whatever. Like it's just my own personal thing, you know.
So good to really talk to you about it. Because I've seen you for so long.
Yeah.
But I remember like it's the first
and
time.
You said we
really
were on that
get to
show,
know you.
dude. That's so crazy. I remember that show in the little cul-de-sac area of that.
I've always seen you at Laugh Factory,
Yeah.
and then I've visited Chocolate Sundays before.
Yeah.
But
You got to come back,
that's
man.
the only show I think we were on together, and I just remember that Fuller
Yeah.
seminary. Yeah, my old youth pastor was there, and I just remember he was the only one that kept it real, because he was the only one that talked about like struggles growing up.
Yeah.
Because not a single person at our church ever admitted that they watch porn, like they masturbate. Everybody just played like.
But isn't it a cultural thing too, where especially in Korean culture, like it was mostly Korean.
You never talk about it. Yeah, it's like
it's
shame.
like you don't talk about your junk. Like, and I feel like black culture is the same way. You're taught to be strong. So when you have real life moments, then what do? Yeah. But that's why it's all necessary.
When you do, that's crazy. When you do chocolate sundaes, like, is there ever like the temptation of, like the whole other world of, there must be a whole other world of, well, first of all, I think you mentioned you had a girlfriend, but before you had a girlfriend, wasn't there this whole other world of that temptation too? Like,
yeah, you know what? Chocolate sundaes was like my thing. I felt like I was given that room to test myself, because before that, besides college, there's no other platform on this planet to give you that many fine women in one little area. You know what I'm saying? So it was a struggle at first. Yeah. It was a struggle at first to actually be in that environment all the time. But then after a while, once you're kind of used to it, it's just another day at work. Because now I know when to go home. I get annoyed most of the time. I'm like, I'm about to go home. You talk too much. You're pretty, but you're a headache. Yeah.
Because for Asians, like it's like a really big deal to have like a packed comedy show. So like, everybody comes out dressed up. But then you guys have it like
it's like every week. But I don't. Again, like I feel like the guy's greatest gift to me is like to know when to go home. It's a little feeling you get. I feel like every man has it, but sometimes we override it. Yeah. But you know when to go home. Like, I need to go home.
You don't drink. You don't smoke.
I drink, but not often. Okay. Yeah, like every now and again, but not. It's not my thing. Yeah, and I tried smoking weed for the first time like last year, and I think I'm over it. I think I'm over it. It's not my thing. I tried it because I was having real bad anxiety, and somebody was like, "Yo, you should try it." And I was like, okay, cool." But then I seen this dude roll a blunt. I don't know if you ever seen somebody roll a blunt before.
Yes, I have.
It looks disgusting. He was just like licking and moaning and like looking me in the eyes. I'm like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to smoke that. So, yeah, that was my other little encounter. So it's not my thing.
That's so good, man. Yeah, like, man. I'm very encouraged and challenged. Because it's just
that's why we here, man. I'm supposed to be here for you today. I'm supposed to light a fire on you, man, and know like it's different. Like, but again, the cool part about being clean, like there's no way I can't perform. There's no room I can't do. Like I performed at a church one day.
Yeah,
I've done chocolate sundaes. I headlined the O2 Center in London. Yeah. It's like the Staples Center here.
Yeah,
and then I went on a tour in London. I performed in a town where there was no brown people, and I headlined at a comedy club, and I got a standing ovation. So to be a Southern boy that talks really fast, to have this little dream and go to another country where there's nobody to look like you and headline and get a standing ovation, for me is like one of the greatest like accomplishments ever, because can't nobody stop what I'm doing. Nobody.
Wow, congrats, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So what? Just
cool,
having
man.
this balance like between family and comedy. Like, what is that like for you? Because
in
my head, I know I'm going to have it, but like, is it hard where you got to choose between going on stage and watching the kids?
It's so hard.
Is that too heavy?
Like, no, it's very hard. That's why it's good that I shared that before you. And the reason why I'm here, wearing a suit is because, Jamie loves it now because I'm hosting.
Yeah. It looks good.
But they said,
looks sharp.
But I have a day job, and then I MC DJ weddings on the weekend.
That's awesome, bro.
And then I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
The third was totally God's plan, not our plan,
unplanned.
And then my wife works. I only get to go up like once a week now.
So were you doing comedy before you had a family?
Oh yeah, that was the initial dream.
Yeah.
And then I got married, and then I think I've been at Laugh Factory for about like 12 years now, but I only get to go up like once a week. So that's the hard thing.
I'm supposed to be here, and we're supposed to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for you, man. Like, I honestly believe that this right here is a part of it, because you do so many things, but I feel like
if I can
it's
make
going
a
to
living,
happen, but it's not going to look like how you want it to, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So just honor the things that bring you joy. Like if this podcast brings you joy, like do it. If getting on stage once a week brings you joy, like try to perform in other places than the normal open mics. Because again, if you're not being seen, then you're not being seen.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm just rooting for you, man. I see it's going to happen though. But again, like this is the fact you can do this and still have a family, like this is dope. It's a great platform. And Laugh Factory, I'm very grateful. Thank you, Jamie, for booking me tonight on the Friday night show and let me do Sunday. I love it, man.
Please keep doing it, man. Yeah.
There's no plan B to sit, man.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they're in my mind. So I haven't gone to church in a long time.
Yeah.
But for the kids, my wife and I, we've been like church hopping now. That whole thing.
It's hard, dude.
Like the whole
out
thing.
Here is different.
Yeah. So we've been trying to find like a cool church, and we've been finding some cool churches. And but one thing that I keep, I always thought it was hokey. Like, oh God, when people say God gave me this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
When people say that, like, God gave me this vision. But the one word I kept seeing was, be an MC. And what that means is like be a motivational comedian. Like I'm never going to be, I don't have the talent to become Chappelle and whatever.
I doubt it. It's possible, bro. Bernie Mac didn't blow up to after his 40s.
But, I've seen Chappelle here, like just not even, just go up and talk.
He started at 18.
Who did? Oh, yeah, Chappelle.
He started at 18. Yeah. Now he's like, I don't know, late 30s, 40s. I don't know. Yeah, and again, you, a part of your culture is to like be the absolute best at what you are.
Yeah.
But there's no grace in that if you are being hard on yourself. Sometimes like being great is making mistakes.
Yeah.
And so for me now, like I'm very vulnerable on stage now. And some of that vulnerability in those moments where you're just trying stuff out because I'm trying to trust myself. Because I know the set that works. Like every comedian, we have a money set. I call it the money set. When you do the set, you know it works. But in order to evolve, like Chocolate Sundays, I can't do the same set every week because I have a lot of repeat people. So I have to take chances and try stuff. Like that whole joke I said about my friend licking the blunt.
They yell it out?
Yeah.
Like if they hear the same thing, do they yell it out or not?
Not really, but where I perform, I'm always in the moment. So it'll feel fresh every time. And I add, every time you see me do a set, I never do it the exact same way. Ever. The subject might be the same, but I add. I'm always writing constantly, So I have to, in order to be great in this room, I have to work on
when you stuff. Write. I've asked every comedian this. Some comedians, they say they don't physically write anything. Do you physically write like?
I got this folder in my what's this app called?
The voice memo?
No. It's called Evernote. If you're a comedian, you need to have Evernote. Evernote is an app I have where basically I have a bunch of topics. You know what I'm saying? And under each topic, I'll open it up. I have one like just all my family stuff. Dad, mom, sister. You know what I'm saying? One about dating in LA. One is like I want to get married in LA. The other one is like going to a wedding you don't believe in. And each topic, I'll just write as many ideas and jokes as possible.
Going to a wedding you don't believe in.
Oh, yeah. Like, everybody had their own. You go to a wedding you don't believe in, it's uncomfortable.
It's hilarious.
It's a great premise, right?
That's a great... I MC weddings. That's a
I'm
great...
actually doing the joke tonight.
Please, that's hilarious.
It happens all the time. So just trying to use my real, honest thoughts.
That's funny.
Everybody had their moment, especially in that church world. Everybody do it because like we're taught, you date with the purpose of marriage. But sometimes you can do that with the wrong person and get jacked up.
Sometimes like the church couple, they just want to they don't want to have premarital sex, so they're
but I'm like, it's kind of better than torturing yourself and marrying somebody you ain't supposed to be with, and your whole life is pleasing the church instead of being your authentic self. And honestly, who I am in comedy is like the bridge between being a normal human being and being Christian too. So I want people to know you can be Christian and have a good time. Like I live. I live. I have a great time and I love my life, dude. And I don't know who's watching this, if you're a comedian watching this or you just happen to flip through it. I feel like this is a very, I call it divine appointment where you don't know what your life will turn into by just taking that one step towards your dream, whatever your dream is. Like mine, I never knew that if I got on stage, I got booed and somebody told me to kill myself, that if I stay on stage, I could be having this moment with you right now. And just my month has been amazing. Like my month, I booked a video game voiceover. I booked 2 national commercials in the last 2 months. And I just booked a Lifetime movie, which I'm pretty excited about that. Dang. And all the stuff is just happening. But if I never took the step to get on stage and go back on stage after I got booed, then I wouldn't be having this moment. You know what I'm saying?
You got booed?
I got booed.
Where?
Okay, so let's talk about it. I went to a place called Uptown Comedy Club in Atlanta, Georgia.
I've heard of Uptown.
Bro, when it was on Peachtree.
It's like a legendary spot, right?
Yeah, but that club was basically ran by all the Comic View comedians. So like for the 90s, it was all Comic View comics. They own the comedy scene. And so starting in Atlanta, I remember going on stage. My cousin was a comic. He was like, dude, you hilarious. You ever thought about getting on stage? And I was like, I would try. And I got on stage and got booed. And while I was getting booed, somebody stood up right where you were. And he was like, hey, man, kill yourself. And I was like, ouch. Like, the boo was okay. But kill yourself was another level of humility that I've never had before.
And wait, how many times have you been on stage
it's my first time ever.
Oh, it was your first time ever.
And he told me to kill myself.
Wow.
And so I got on stage. They started playing music on me. and everybody was booing. I heard a boo grenade. Like all I heard was boo. Like it was a boo grenade, bro. Like it was uncomfortable, and I'm like, this is painful. And I'm looking at my cousin. He looking at me like, I don't know what to tell you. So I sat down by the DJ booth, and the host came up. He was like, hey, Ron G, y'all give it up for Ron G. It was like boo. He was like, wait, every time you say his name, you're gonna boo? And he was like, Ron G, boo, Ron, boo, G, boo. And they just kept booing. I was like, this is uncomfortable. And I could have ran out the door, but I took it. But I kept going back, and I sat in the back of the room, and I watched a lot of really funny comics that I thought were funny. Yeah. And I learned what they did differently, and the only difference was confidence. Because I knew it was funny, and there's an art to it too. But I just had to figure out that art and that confidence on stage. So once I got out of my own way, like within 8 months, I got my first standing ovation. I performed at Fort Benning, and I got my first standing ovation as a feature. You know what I'm saying? So that was the beginning of it.
What do you think that came from, like that ambit, or like, you know, that drive to overcome that? Because some people, they can't overcome that.
Rejection is hard. Yeah, but I feel like it's like, I heard an analogy of boxing. It said it's not how hard you get hit or what happens when you get knocked down. It's like what happens, how fast you get back up. And for me, that changed my life. The fact I got booed and I went back, that makes no sense. What we do for a living as a comedian, like you get booed, you have a bad night and go back to work. And you don't have to go. For peanuts, you know, like we don't get paid a lot. You know, depending on what you do, but like we still go back. And for me, I just fell in love with it. I'm competitive. I play sports. And I was like,
what do you play?
I play football. But I was like, I love comedy and I'm gonna figure this thing out. And I just fell in love with it. And every day I would get on stage and work out new stuff and make mistakes and try voices. I'm the baby too in my household. So I'm making voices and faces and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. You got to try this stuff out. Because I did a TED Talk too. My TED Talk was basically about being a weirdo. And all the things that made me a weirdo as a kid make me money now. All the little sounds, like my mom was like, shut up, get out my face and go in the room. And I'll be in the room watching TV and like
making weird faces, like
making noises. And I would see somebody talk and I'm like, I can do that. And I saw Obama and I was like, what if I went to the club and talked to a girl like that? And I'm like, no, first of all, as I look at those big brown eyes, thank you. I got to tell you that's pretty impressive. Now, what I'd like to do is release a dating stimulus package that will cover 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, where's this coming from? But I saw it evolve, and like whoever you're supposed to become in this world, it's already in you. It's your job to go dig and find it inside yourself and work on it and hone your craft.
Wait, where'd you grow up?
South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
I was born in South Carolina, finished school, moved to Atlanta, and I've been out here for a minute.
And then, who was the first comedian that you were like, okay, I want to do that?
Jamie Foxx.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I saw I Need Security, and I fell in love. Yo,
here.
He's looking at my face while I'm talking about it.
Right here.
Yeah, I saw.
He's probably the most talented human being on earth.
Bro, but I saw him, and I felt like him. Like, you see a comedian, you like really relate to him.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's almost like that funny cousin or friend. You're like, yo, like I see older gentlemen, like older comics. I'm like, he reminds me of me. But I saw Jamie Foxx, I Need Security, and he would stay into a character until people wasn't even laughing anymore. He would just get lost in it. And I liked that because I would do that. I would like just for a day play a character and just do it all day long and then just see my response. And so I remember watching it, man. So my first year in comedy, I was Jamie Foxx. Like all my nuances, like he'll do a joke and does like this. See the little lip motion?
Yeah.
Like just small. And I studied him so much, but after a while, like when you keep doing your craft, you figure out who you are. So now I'm my authentic me on stage.
Did you get to meet him?
Yeah. I did.
He's cool. Yeah.
He's cool.
That's cool. Because I've met some of my comedy heroes and sometimes they weren't cool. And I'm like, damn, I wish I didn't meet them. You know, like maybe they're just having a bad day, you know, and I idolize
it wasn't pleasant. The playback on me meeting him wasn't pleasant. But
yeah.
I mean, just sometimes I'd rather not meet people I really look up to, or I'll meet them when it's time.
What was crazy was right here, used to be Miyagi's and now it's Pink Taco.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember Miyagi. So this is right before he blew up.
Who?
Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was already big, of course, but before, I think this was like the football movie. It was before.
Any Given Sunday.
Yeah, it was before all that. Mm-hmm. He was just hanging out in front with like this hot Asian girl with the biggest butt. And nobody would, you know, but if it was just a few years later, he would have been mobbed. And it's
he's very talented, man. But he gave me that, I don't know, I just saw him perform and I was like, yo, I am him. Like,
I remember Def Comedy Jam, because I've seen every video 10 times each.
Yeah.
But that one, there's something about you that makes me feel so
comfortable. Yeah. I feel so, is this a Portopedic? See, I remember all that. But this is the crazy part. And this is something you give your kids. The stuff that you expose your kids to can change their life later on. And you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Because I was doing an interview and I was talking about my mom. Every Friday night, My mom would come home. We would clean like as a family,
Yeah.
and then we watch Def Jam. And I remember sitting at the foot of my mom's bed watching Def Jam, and I knew everybody's set. And I just fell in love with comedy, but I didn't know that my mom have these little family moments, and now I'm doing this for a living. Like, you don't know. That's why it's like it's really cool being I look forward to being a dad one day.
Yeah,
I want to expose my kids to everything because you never know what they'll fall in love with. Like, you'd be the smallest thing, and they wind up doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Your parents must be so proud.
Oh man. So I feel like most people live the formula. The formula is you go to school, you get a job, you get married, you make babies, you retire, and you die. Hopefully you have enough money and your pension, you can take care of yourself. But my parents just kind of let me live. And at first, my mom didn't really get it. Because when I got booed, I called my mom the next day. I was like, Mom, guess what happened? She was like, what? I was like, I got booed. She was like, what are you telling me? I was like, well, it was great.
Yeah.
She's like, they paid you to get booed? And I was like, no. Why are you doing it? I like it.
Yeah.
And so she came to visit and didn't she had to stay in a hotel. And it hurt me because, the first couple of years in LA is painful.
Yeah.
I had a roommate. I'm sleeping on the floor. Didn't even have a bed. And she stayed in a hotel. And it sucked. And then 4 years later, I bought a house. And she came over and she was like,
congrats.
She has a nice little place you got. I was like, Mama, these jokes bought me this. And she was like, you lying. I was like, this is all I do for a living. And
wait, so 4 years after you started?
So I started in 03. I started in 03. And then I moved to LA 05. And I booked my first national commercial in 06.
Damn.
And I have not worked a 9 to 5 since 06.
Which commercial was it?
It was Checkers and Rallies. Yeah, I was the spokesperson for the restaurant.
Are you serious?
My first audition ever.
Wow.
Ever getting in front of a camera, and I could barely read the teleprompter because I have my thorn was I had a fear of reading in public. I hate public reading, but it was a 2-person audition for a spokesperson.
Yeah.
And this guy came in. He was a polished actor. He was like, try our cheeseburgers. They're great. They're delicious. They're awesome. They have a sesame seed bun, 100% real cheese, beef. I'm like, he's good.
Yeah.
And I went in just like, hey, try our cheeseburgers. They're great. You go, what's that word? Sesame. They got a sesame seed bun. And the lady called me back and she was like, you got it.
So authentic.
Yeah, but I was just having fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't even know.
National commercial.
Yeah.
Then you bought a home.
Yeah, it was dope, man. It was dope, bro. And after that, I did Who's Got Jokes, Last Comic Standing, Martin Lawrence First Amendment, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So I live a great life, man.
Yeah, you are, man. Congrats.
I love what I do, man. It's happening. You can feel that little moment. Like right now, I feel like I'm in that little bubble right before it happens.
That's what I see about you. Like, you're very positive.
Thank you, bro.
A lot of I see most comedians are very.
It's dark.
It's dark.
It's a dark world.
Especially in New York, every time I visit, it's you just check out the rooms and some comedian, the whole. I was one comedian is just putting down everybody, the whole audience, and everybody's just like,
yeah,
what the hell are we here for?
What do you notice about yourself when you travel? Because for me, it's kind of interesting to see the talent level when you travel. Because here, hosting at the Laugh Factory,
it's funny that even though I'm on the bottom of the ladder here, I feel like in the
why you say that? I feel like there's no line here.
No, I mean I'm hosting.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm proud, Yeah. No, but I'm saying I host once a week on Friday, which I'm proud,
Yeah.
And I feel like, but I can hang with most of the comedians in the country because I'm here at the Laugh Factory.
But you don't notice that until you leave, though.
Yeah.
I've seen really good LA comics bomb in Atlanta because it doesn't translate. Because out here, we're very free-spirited.
Yeah.
You hear abortion jokes, you hear slapping baby jokes and all this other stuff. But back home, that don't work. Around real people, you can't. Alternative comedy don't really work in the Midwest or the South. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen headlines get bumped for the feature, and the feature wound up headlining. You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting, man. But I love what we do. And it's cool to, when you travel, I feel like you have to move to LA to become a star, and you have to leave LA to be appreciated.
To go back out there.
Yeah, because here I'm pretty famous. But in other places, I'm like Kevin Hart in Iowa. You know what I'm saying? In Iowa, killing them in Iowa. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, you don't realize that until you leave, though.
Where's your biggest spots, and then where you get a following, where people just
DC area, tri-state, Maryland, DC, Virginia area, definitely the South because I'm a Southern boy. I got a good fan base in Texas as well, like Dallas and Houston, and also Seattle-ish. If I shot a special, I would love to shoot somewhere in Seattle because people in Seattle, they just show love. They just great crowds in Seattle.
Do Asians come out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right
Actually,
on.
got a lot of Asian fans too.
Right on.
Yeah. They love the Laugh Factory.
Oh, I know.
They do.
I always wonder if there's Asian, because I have some Asian friends too. Have you ever noticed this? Do they speak a different way? When they speak to you?
No.
I have Asian friends that they talk a certain way, but then when they like if I introduce them to you, then all of a sudden they amp up a lot. What's up?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
I feel like it's any nationality outside of black.
They do that, right?
Yeah. What's up, bro? For shizzle, man. Like, we don't talk like that. Stop. Knock it off. I tell you what's funny. I saw a group of Asian comics complain about the business, and it was the exact same conversation
that black comedians
have.
Yeah.
They was talking about this particular show that's on the air, and they were saying like it's supposed to be about this Asian family, but it wasn't. It was supposed to be Chinese, but nobody on the show was Chinese or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Korean, but nobody was Korean. Everybody was like everything else. But because of Hollywood, they don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he was like, why couldn't they give us a chance to audition? And I'm listening like, you know how many movies? Like, what was it, The Gods of Egypt? And it was all white people, no black people. You're like, Egypt is in Africa. Like, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? So it was just interesting to hear the conversation. But I feel like no matter what stage you're at, there's complaints.
Well,
from the open micer to Kevin Hart, there's complaints about where you're at in your career and what's not happening.
It's such a baby stage for Asian comedians, though. Like for me, though, the thing is, I was one of the only Asians in my elementary school, and like, it was mostly white in Burbank at the time, and I got made fun of a lot.
Yeah.
But then when I got older, I would see Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah.
And it would be a lot of black comedians making fun of white people.
Yeah.
So I saw that as like so empowering, right? Like because it was like I was getting fun of.
Yeah.
And then I saw like, oh wow, this is more than just making people laugh. You know? And so in terms of that, like, where do you see this? I know there's not like the state of black comedy, but like since you're, the host of Chocolate Sundays, like. Where's the whole
urban comedy?
Yeah,
I feel like there's a renaissance happening because in the 90s after Def Jam, every black comedian had their own TV show, and then for some reason, like 10 years when the reality show period happened, nobody was getting TV shows for a minute, and then it became the no-name white guys leading shows, like the whole Judd Apatow movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are these people? Who they come from? And they wound up in every movie. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And there's for a time there was no comedians leading movies, especially black comedians. There was a time there was no black comedy leads, but now it's happening again with the Carmichael Show. A lot of other minority-based sitcoms are happening. I feel like this black renaissance is happening again, where you see young black comedians getting TV shows and taking over.
Do you feel a bunch of comedians are talking about this? Do you feel that comedy beef is good for stand-up comedy?
Or it depends on who you beef with.
No, but like overall, like it's good for like.
I feel like
attention
in comedy. Nothing's really bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, all bad things are good because we run social media. If you notice, like, we have the most impact on social media.
True.
And, like, even when Steve Harvey messed up and did the Miss Universe
and
said the wrong thing,
yeah.
He came back and did a joke about it, and it made it right, and nobody was talking about it again. You know what I'm saying? Comedians have the power to do that. If you're a regular entertainer, you don't have that power to change the world because our voice means so much. If you think, even in black culture, there's so many things that have been said in black movies that we say all the time. Like the phrase, bust your head down to the white meat. You know what I'm saying?
Bust your head down to the white meat?
Little teachable black history moment. There's a phrase where they say, I'll bust your head down to the white meat.
Yeah.
Bernie Mac said it in the Kings of Comedy, and black people, we say it all the time. Like if somebody get hit in the head and you can see white meat, like it's a figure of speech. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but we change, like so much of the conversation in black community comes from comedy, and you don't know how it translates, but it's a thing, and it's hilarious to watch. But I've been studying comedy for so long. Like I know Richard Pryor when I hear it. I know Red Fox when I hear it. I know even like when you watch the show Martin. Martin was one of the best TV shows ever. That same dynamic was in Sanford and Son. Red Fox and Aunt Esther. They had that same dynamic with Martin and Pam, but it's translated in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all.
No, it does for sure. I feel like a lot of ethnic comedians. Well, there's Latino, Native American, and then there's Asian comedians. We owe a lot to black comedians, and like in that way, in terms of, like there's the way that was paved in that way too. But at the same time, there's one of my gripes is whenever Asian comedians, we talk about even if we mention the word Asian, you see a lot of YouTube comments, right? And they go, oh, here's another Asian comedian talking about being Asian, right? Is that a criticism a lot of black comedians?
Not really, because we don't have that whole I feel like all Jewish comics announce they're Jewish. Yeah. And general population, like I'm like, you're like a white boy to me, but I don't know if you're Jewish or not. We don't have the issue in black community. I don't think we announce that we're black. We kind of know it. Now I do get tired of the black people do this and white people do this kind of jokes, but in general, I do feel like it's necessary for all comics to honor your ancestors.
But don't you think? Okay, I know that might have been a played out thing, but don't you think that's an empowering thing to the community when you say, well, you know, black people do this and white people.
But not generically. I feel like there's a clever way to do it.
There's a clever way to do it.
Because Chappelle does it. Chappelle does it, and
that's what I'm saying.
Like I thought about this joke. Black people are the only people that say you're not black enough. Like in our culture, like we say, "Oh, you ain't black enough. You ain't from the street. You ain't hood."
Yeah,
like, I wonder if Asian people be like, "You making B's and C's in school? You ain't Asian enough." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you can drive without getting accidents. You're not Asian. You know what I'm saying? I wonder, like no other culture does that with black people. You know? What I'm saying?
No, Asians do that.
They do.
Yeah.
Like, he ain't really Asian.
Yeah, well, no, they're the whole sellout thing.
You're American and you don't know the language kind of thing.
Well, there's a lot of. I mean, there's so many different things, but definitely like a lot of. Asian girls love a lot of non-Asian guys, and
but that's not our fault.
Yeah, I know exactly.
That's not our fault.
I know, but a lot of non-Asian girls don't really like Asian guys. So
what do you think that is?
I mean, there's many different reasons. One is the reality.
No swag.
That's a big thing. The reality of a
not you, of course.
A smaller penis thing. That's for sure. Yeah, there's
that.
That's
for sure. That's hilarious.
And then there's a whole thing, but like in terms of like the media portrayal, every time you stand in a supermarket, you're just fed of what's beauty, and it's never ever going to be.
So what do you feel about what's the state of like Asian comedy? Because with like Dr. Ken, and then Ali Wong. She is such a beast, man.
She's killing it,
bro. I've never seen a woman get down like that, and the level of honesty.
Yeah.
And she got this innocence to her where she just say something reckless. You like more shocked, like, did she just say that?
Raw.
Yo, she's brilliant to me, man. You feel like there's a movement happening in the Asian community too?
Yeah, what I love about Ali is that, Asians are very judgmental, and to the point where like I remember one time I brought a drink on stage and I was drinking here, and then someone called Jamie and said, "I'm so offended by PK like drinking." I'm like, what? They sell drinks here. Like there's a two-drink.
Lying.
Yeah, because they
offended because you brought a drink on stage.
Yeah, but also too because they know me from like growing up at church. But I'm not even like that anymore. I haven't gone to church in a long time, you know. But like, what you're gonna call the club to say you're mad?
But church folks are like that. I've been church hurt before too, where people that you would think get you and understand you, they have the least grace ever, and you can't affect people. You can't show people Jesus. You can't even love people being judgmental. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just like, what the hell? But Ali was, she's so raw. On Marin's podcast, she talked about how she did ayahuasca, that drug, and she had a dream where she was dating herself, and she went down on herself and fell in love with herself. Like just crazy, right? Where if Asian parents heard that, they'd be like, "Oh, how dare!" Like that's just so like But she pushes the envelope.
Yeah, and you have being Asian and being a PK. Like, was that a lot of pressure in trying to find your voice and uncovering some of that?
I'm still finding
that cultural stuff.
I'm still finding it. I think the hardest thing for me is the Asian culture thing, but also like my kids are gonna grow up and see things on YouTube, and then that, like what's okay. I don't really like, to be honest. For me, like I respect you so much. I respect Seinfeld, Brian Regan. There's like
Regan is a beast.
There's so few great clean comedians.
Yeah.
And but like for me, I don't like saying fuck shit like bitch.
Do you feel
I don't think that's a big deal. Like,
do you feel like it enables you because you feel like you don't have enough range into your subject matter to perform without even doing that?
So I'm pretty clean, but I do feel that like
you can't say it how you want to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like that
sometimes it adds something to it that you can't, like that word sometimes expresses, not if you're using it all the time, but if you're only using it sparingly.
Yeah.
There's a shock value that, and I just feel like sometimes people judge you if I didn't say it throughout the whole set. I think I talked about it with Ruben Paul. Yeah. And because Ruben curses sometimes on stage.
But
and
he's
like,
funny. You probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
He's so likable. Yeah.
But I like where if you didn't say it the whole set, let's say a 20-minute set, and you only said fuck once, where people are like kind of like, whoa, like that he only said it one, not for a calculated effect, but to the point where you're just like, on the part, but because it's like how Richard Pryor used it as like an art form.
Yeah.
That's the part where I'm wondering, is that where my kids will be like, well, Daddy says
you might be putting a little too much on it. But I get you being a dad, so it's
Yeah.
all new to you. But two things, man. My improv teacher in Atlanta, Bob Woods, he made a comment. He said, people don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. So
True.
sometimes being so hard on yourself about the words takes away from you just breathing and being yourself. Also, if you notice, most of life is telling story. Like everything that we love about life is storytelling.
Yeah.
And even all the TED Talks, people become experts because they told a story about something. Not that they went to school for it. They just they told a story about something. They become. So our job as storytellers and painting pictures and bringing stuff to life. So even in my TED Talk, I mentioned how I saw.
What is it called for people who? All 4,000 of you guys.
Yeah. So it's called. Type in Ron G TEDx, Ron G TED Talk, and it's like I think it's called Weirdo. Ron G TEDx. But basically, I was saying life is telling a story, and I always saw in pictures growing up. Like when I used to draw, I can draw my butt off even now because I see stuff in pictures. So even when life happens, my funny is I'll see something and dramatize it in my head, and that's what makes it funny. So sometimes I don't need that curse word because I'll act it out, and I'm like I'll stay in a joke until it's uncomfortable. I have this ATM joke, and I'll turn my back to the crowd, and it's a lot of silence. I'm like, boop, 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 boop. You can tell the broke you are by how spread out your beeps are. Because when money was good, I went to ATM machine with no beeps or no spaces. All you hear cash receipt, and I was like, when you broke, the beeps get real spread out. All you hear is, oh man, broke you are. You read everything. You like. Profit 47%. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just in this joke that's all nuances. And in order for the joke to work, I have to stay in it and be like fearless with silence. So if you're a young comic watching this, please know that silence is your best friend. When you get comfortable with silence, that's when you become great. When you stop performing for people and perform and just trust what's in your heart and be honest with yourself and always honor your heart on stage, that's when greatness happens.
So true. The timing in between. The silence in between.
I used to be scared of silence.
Yeah.
That's why I was so high energy. People are like, man, I love your energy. Your energy is so great, but I was scared to like not be doing something that it wasn't effective. But
do you feel that this is a real? I've been a real debate talking about with Johnny Sanchez, some of the comedians here, that our society is making all the comedians go fast. Do you feel it's getting faster? Like there's a lot of ranting comedians now that are just there's no silence anymore, and so it's because of like a Family Guy and. You know, like our attention and our kids are on an iPad and
it's a lot of different things, man. Even like social media's kind of killed live stand-up, man.
Yeah.
Not killed it, but
like 6-second vines.
There's not appreciation for seeing somebody live. You know what I'm saying? If you can see somebody set online, why would you go to see them? Yeah. But live, there's a whole nother experience.
Yeah.
It's like dating online versus like hanging out with a real person. You get that physical interaction. And I love the Laugh Factory so much because it's so intimate and it's sexy and it's personal. And it's contagious. I've seen somebody, this is a guy that comes every week. He sits to the left of the stage and he like screaming, laughing.
Chocolate Sundays?
Yeah, and just because he laughed hard, everybody else started laughing too. And it's so contagious. But you lose that experience trying to watch all your comedy online. But I do feel like the Vine, the Instagram, the 15 seconds takes away the whole art of letting people talk and just
getting like shorter.
Just get it out.
Shorter. Yeah.
Just like doing what is it called? A dramedy?
Yeah.
Hard for people to translate because people are so used to. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a slow bait dramedy where it's like not funny all the time, but it's still funny consistently, people don't take the time to appreciate art and what it is and knowing that. That's why I said you have to have high energy comedy. You have to have slow paced comedy. You have to have real cerebral comedy. You have to have all these things to determine what you like and what makes comedy great is all the diversity. That's what I love about comedy. There's no certain thing. Like your Asian point of view, I would never have that as a black man. So to be honest about that and just trust that it is what it is, I think it's dope, man. I love comedy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Do you think that it's racist that I only have one friend who's black? That's the real thing. That's the truth.
I'm still trying to work it out with my Asian friends, so don't worry about it. Yeah, I got him.
Do you have any Asian friends?
On an internship. So every now and again we talk about material and stuff.
Oh, can I be honest with you? Like, it really wasn't a big deal to me, but there were a lot of Asians pissed at Chris Rock about that dumb joke that he did at the Grammys.
What is that?
I mean, it probably wasn't him. It was probably the writers, but for me, it wasn't even offensive. It was just such a bad joke. Like he during the middle of the not Grammys, Oscars.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna invite the accountants for the Oscars now, and he invited 3 little Asian kids. Asians got pissed, dude. The Asian community was like, because they were like, this right, you're talking about, about stereotypes and whatever. And so
that is kind of scary what our world's turning to with stereotypes and not being able to speak freely about stuff. Like That bothers me.
Yeah.
Especially particularly in comedy. Politics, I get it. Like you're trying to please a demographic, and everybody's gonna be unhappy no matter what.
Yeah.
But comedy is a very unique voice to where I feel like comedians are necessary. As long as it's not mean spirited.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have freedom to say some stuff.
It's getting too politically correct.
Yeah. That bothers me.
Yeah.
Do you do current events? Are you a current event comedian?
A little bit, not too much, you know. I do like, you know, some North Korea stuff and whatever, but you know, like I can't.
Do you feel like people even care about that? Like, because I feel like as Americans, we're very arrogant about our own news, information, and government.
Yeah,
we don't care about other people's.
That's my whole bit is that I get asked after the Laugh Factory, like if I'm North or South Korean, and I just make fun of like how people don't even.
Orange County, what'd you say?
No, that people think that I just did a set in English, and they think that I might be. From North Korea.
Yeah, we're very ignorant toward that, man.
It's so ignorant,
Even like the language.
Yeah,
all my friends, when I go to London, they speak 2 languages, and we like, well, if you don't speak English, you shouldn't be in our country.
Exactly.
Versus
very
like,
ethnocentric here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like we have the best stand-up comedy because we do have the most free speech, even though it's getting restrained.
Yeah.
But stand-up comedy is like one of the last bastions of like fighting for that free speech, you know, and like that's where I feel Def Comedy Jam was huge. It
it changed everything.
It people don't realize how important that was in saying whatever the fuck you want, you know, you can just like. So for me as a preacher's kid, I wasn't allowed to watch Eddie Murphy and Def Comedy Jam and like urban comedy for my parents was like
the devil.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the devil.
And George Carlin, because one time George Carlin said, if there's a God, then strike me down right now. I don't know if you remember that. He said that. He said it on stage.
Yeah.
And he goes, see? No God. And my dad, you know, he was just watching that. Like, you want to do stand-up comedy?
But that's comedy, bro. Like even Bill Maher. Bill Maher is so anti-Christian to me, but I like him. I like hearing people that don't believe what I believe and hearing their thoughts. And I want to know why they think what they think. Like I try not to judge. Like, and that's my environment. I'm around people that don't believe. So I'm like, I would never force what I believe on anybody. But I still want to know why. As a comedian, I want to know why. And that why makes me great so I can talk about stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I dated a girl who was Coptic before. Coptic is a very unique kind of Christianity that is very ritualistic. You know what I'm saying? But as a black man going into that environment, comedy. You know what I'm saying? I dated a Muslim girl. You
dated a Muslim girl?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like growing up, I would have never done it, but I met somebody who was really dope, and I was like, I like her. I like what she thinks. And back home, you know, basically, if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell. But, you know, being around people that aren't like you, it's that thing where you learn how to love outside of what it looks like. If it's too much like you, there's no room to love. But when it's opposite of you or doesn't agree with you and you still want to be in that space,
what's the ultimate goal for you? Like the next?
I'm glad you asked. So my goal is to be the best clean comedian in my generation. I don't normally announce it, but I love what I do. I know my lane, and I want to be. I don't know if the reference is good, but like what Bill Cosby was for his generation or what Sinbad was, but just that on a different level. Because again, even their audience, I can do older, young, or whatever, and I want to be that for my generation. Also, I want to do a bunch of really dope white folk friendly movies. Like I call them Will Smith kind of movies where I'm saving the world, hero, romantic comedy kind of movies. And
do people say you kind of have that vibe?
Yeah,
right.
I get that all the time.
Yeah,
like, you like Will Smith-ish. I appreciate it.
But
it's happening. It's happening. I'm booking stuff, booked a little TV show, so it's happening, man. So I'm en route, and it's a journey, dude.
Wait, so would you consider yourself one of the best right now, like best in the world, like clean comedian?
Doing what I do?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else who can do what I do.
Right?
On a clean level. I could be wrong, but and maybe they're like a YouTube star or something, but in general, like.
So are you the Steph Curry of clean comedy right now?
Let's do it. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, man.
We're putting it out there right now.
That's it, man. Yeah.
This man right here. No, because, this is the last things I want to talk about here. Apart from the craziness of what he did, but
he's amazing, by the way.
Well, I mean, no, I'm not talking about Steph.
Okay,
I was going to say, oh yeah, Steph's a machine. But apart from the crazy, do you consider him the greatest clean comedian?
I would say so. I don't think you can take his legacy away, even though people try to do it. But
like above, like
outside
Seinfeld, Reagan, and that, like.
I say because for me, he changed how black people look on TV.
Okay.
And for me, I remember growing up as a kid and we watching the Cosby Show, and as a black kid, you didn't see images like that. So it changed everything for our culture. And he was like America's dad for real, you
I
know.
couldn't
So
wait for Cosby Show every week.
oh man, that's when people actually watch TV Thursday nights.
That's why this whole thing was devastating. But
yeah, but I can't speak on his personal life.
yeah.
But for what he stand for entertainment, he was everything.
So in the black community, is there like Cosby, Sinbad? Is there like a known? These are the greatest clean comedians.
Well, black people, we love our celebrities no matter what. Certain people you can't talk about. Like Eddie Murphy, can't talk about Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
You can't talk about Obama. Obama's like Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about my president. You know what I'm saying?
He was the best, man.
Who was Denzel, Sidney Poitier, who's that? What's her name? Cicely Tyson. You can't. Certain black people you just can't talk. And we love our celebrities, even when they mess up. We like, look.
No, but in terms of clean comedian, let's say there was a ranking.
Clean.
Like, you know that there's Jordan, and then there's
it was just
like
Sinbad and Bill Cosby. That's the only thing I can think
Sinbad,
about.
Bill Cosby.
And I know some funny, like Regan is funny, but I think the difference is TV. He hasn't done a lot of TV. So because he hasn't done TV, it doesn't give you that kind of exposure. Just like Daddy Rich, like Richard Pryor was dope, but if he never did TV, he wouldn't be Richard Pryor that we know. You know what I'm saying? So doing movies and TV changes everything.
So when it's all said and done, you're gonna be in that conversation.
When you can say my first name, you know what you're talking about. Bill, Sinbad. You know what I'm saying? Like run, like that one name thing.
It's happening.
My man.
It's happening. Thank you so much for coming through, man. Yeah, it's good.
Can I drop my information on my social media?
Please plug everything right now.
So listen, if you're watching this, first of all, I just want to tell you to dream big, hustle hard, and let God handle the rest. And also, when you feel that little thing moving inside you, like honor it. Don't ignore that going to your job. I know you hate your job. And if you hate your job, you should be watching this right now anyway. But don't ignore that voice is inside you and lean toward the pain. If it's uncomfortable, it's scary. The fact I got booed and I'm still doing this, and I'm doing this podcast just so you can see me today. So if I got booed and stopped doing this, we wouldn't have this moment. So we here. Also, please follow me at Comedian Ron G, Comedian RONG on Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat. I put a lot of dope videos on Instagram. And if you happen to be at the Laugh Factory on a Sunday and you have family in town, bring them every Sunday. I host 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock show. It is an amazing show, probably the best comedy show that you've ever been to in your life. And I'm not saying it because I host it. I'm saying it because the team is great and this is what we do.
Right now, Ron G, thank you so much.
This chair needs some screws on it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Dream big. There's no other option. Channel PK Town.